Hi everyone, this is my new setup, and I mean it's just the same phone. This new light here, and my phone is kept on a tripod. That's all that have changed. This might not be here every day. It's just that I was sitting down, I had sat down for drawing and recording my drawings. That's exactly why my setup was out, and so I thought, why not just record my videos here as well. So, the thing that I want to talk about today is locking in. Why you should not lock in if you want to achieve something quickly. I'll tell you. So, you know, in the recent years, locking in this terminology or this phrase has suddenly boomed and gotten pretty popularized. And there's this hustle culture that is constantly being promoted in the social media, right? The problem with this sounds very nice. This is something that sounds very obvious. Like it feels like very obvious that if you put in more work, put in more undivided attention on one particular thing, obviously you're going to have better results. Now, this idea of giving your 100% in something is definitely a good idea, and I can never negate the entirety of it. However, there is a loophole with the idea of locking in. The thing is, when you it depends on how you actually decipher that phase. What is locking into you? If it is just giving your 100%, that's fine, but that is not where people stop in general. The thing is, most people have this tendency, including me. I had this tendency personally. As in, locking in is like, you stop everything else and just focus on one thing in your life, and that kind of a mindset is very exhausting, right? And this, even if you don't understand that consciously, you understand that subconsciously that this shit is going to be exhausting, and that is why you procrastinate even more and even more. So instead of locking in, what you should do is create sustainable routines that do not force you to go out of your way to stop, stop sleeping, or like cut down majorly on your resting hours, or many people nowadays make reads cut stop socializing 100%. Don't talk to friends, cut off your girlfriend, do not do relationships, do not talk to your family, and lock yourself in a room, and focus towards one thing, be it weight loss, be it an exam, be it your business, something of that sort. But I mean, if you do that for too long, if that is not something that keeps you fulfilled, cutting your friends, family, everyone off, cutting every source of entertainment off, and your rest off, that cannot be a lifestyle that is sustainable, right? Or at least it's going to be very exhausting, even if you are able to sustain that kind of a lifestyle, right? So when you do something of that sort, you get very exhausted. Now, keeping that aside, we all know about the exhaustion, but the second thing is, subconsciously you're scared of that exhaustion. That is why you keep pushing that even further. You start procrastinating even more. So what happens is, instead of locking in, because the idea that you have is that I'm gonna lock in for this period of time or from this date, and from that date I'm gonna stop everything. Till then I'm gonna enjoy my life. But this ideology keeps you in the loop, and it keeps you from actually achieving your goals. You need set a sustainable goal that you cover. For example, I'll give you an example. You have let's say 10 chapters in an upcoming exam. Now what you could do is complete half a chapter every day and have room for other things as well for 1 month, and then you'd still have time to revise and uh, go for the exam, right? Instead, if you have this mindset that I'm gonna lock in right before the exam, what you're gonna do is you are going to study for 5 days or 7 days. You think that I'm going to complete 10 chapters in 5 days right before the exam, I'm going to lock in, and then what happens is, instead of doing your work, instead of studying for the before like those last 7 days, you waste the rest of the time, and you thought that I'm going to lock in these 7 days, but when actually the day comes, you are not quite able to lock in. Even if you do, you are going to do it for 2-3 days and you are going to fail, because it's so exhausting, right? And that is why many people are in the loop. They are always think I'm gonna do it, and then they are unable to do, because they do not have the attention span to like suddenly lock in. Instead, you have to build habits every day that are sustainable, that are gonna stay, and that are gonna gradually compound, instead of kind of munching everything down in one day, swallowing everything down in one day. The third point is desperation. For this one, I'll give the example of weight loss. So many people think of weight loss in the sense like they have to diet, they have to go to the gym or exercise every day, and they also have to go for walks or do some kind of an active, like running or something of that, so some activity. So that is how they think of weight loss, that these are the things that we need to do in order to lose weight. And they think that we need to do all of that all together, and if we miss one day of dieting, if we eat unhealthy for one day, we will have to redo everything again. And when you think that way, when you think that you need to lock in to lose weight, you're gonna overdo things. And when you overdo things, your body gets very stressed. Instead of losing weight, you can search it up because of cortisol, higher cortisol levels. Cortisol is a hormone that's released when you are very stressed. So if you have higher stress hormones in your body, it will be harder for you to lose weight. Also, what many people do is they just suddenly cut their calories down like to a huge extent, which is why they struggle to lose weight again. Because if you cut your calories down to like a level where it's not even enough for survival, your body is gonna try and save the fat that you have, because it thinks that you do not have access to food, right? So that is how your body is trying to protect you, but it's just doing the opposite of what you wanted initially, right? So these are few things. And the thing is, when you are too desperate, when you lock in, oftentimes you have to leave everything else in your life, and there's a point you'd be like, how many more days do I have to do this? And then you are gonna constantly look for results. And the thing is, when it comes to things like weight loss, or even like proficiency in a subject or language, it takes time. No matter how much you overdo something, you just cannot like skip an entire process. You can only make it fast to a certain level. You cannot escape the process. So that is why you need to be patient, and when you are looking for results every day desperately, it becomes quite impossible, and which is why people just cannot stick to a routine for too long, because they try to lock in and they stop doing everything else, and they end up doing nothing, right? They end up quitting instead. And this is what I had done for quite a long time. This is something that I had done, and that is what was kind of stopping my weight loss. But this time I have lost 10 kgs, and that was only possible because I was not trying to lose weight. This time I started working. I kind of like cut down on my calories because I was feeling unhealthy. I was feeling like I'm overeating. So I tried to minimize the amount of food that I was having. Not everything. I still have around like 2000 calories. I am pretty tall, but yeah, I not exactly 2000, like 1700. Sometimes when I'm going out, I just eat up to like 2400 calories, and it can go more at times, once in a month, twice a month. But you see, like nothing, like just because one day I'm dining out, that does not stop me from hopping back to my routine on the next day. It's because it's not exhausting for me. I have just, I'll make a video on this some other day if you wanted, a weight loss video. But the thing is, like, I realized that if I stopped eating as much food that I do in the morning or at night for the dinner, I'm gonna feel very hungry. So I eliminated, like, I selected the time where I was overeating. I tried to, like, not selected, it's more like identify. Yeah, identified the time where I was actually overeating, which was in the afternoon. I was having too much rice, so I realized that kind of makes me bloat as well. So why not cut down rice a little bit? And that's what I did. I increased my protein intake. I stopped eating junk on a regular basis. Sometimes I still do have chocolates, that's fine. I do not punish myself for that, and I do not go insane about it for having chocolates someday. But then again, the frequency has decreased, right? The frequency of having junk. So overall, these habits have compounded over time, and within a span. And walking, yeah, I used to walk a lot back then. I used to walk for like 10-15k, but right now I had some kind of an injury in my leg, so I had to stop walking completely. But still, for the past 3 months, even though I'm unable to exercise and walk, I still have my weight maintained because of the amount of food I have, right? But walking, I have not been losing a lot of weight in the past 3 months, but the months prior to that, I lost three sorry, I lost 10 kgs. So yeah, that's the thing. So you see, habits are going to compound over time. Sustained routines, habits that are sustainable, are going to give you results at the end. But if you try to do something extreme, that is going to create burnout. If you're doing something extreme, it is generally driven by a very strong motive of having a fast result, and I think you should not be too desperate for a result. Yeah, if you right now, if you are watching this video and you have an exam in 10 days, you cannot save yourself, but at least get this in your head and try to use this advice in your upcoming days, right? Okay. Bye.